Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. We hope y'all had a good week. Y'all should have heard the banner before we went live, man. We're changing the topics to triggers tonight, so we were having a good time. Excuse me, CW, how was your week, brother?
It was a good one. We got the fall is back. We're back down in the 30s overnight, so it's good. It's nice weather. The leaves are changing up here. It's getting real pretty. That rain is done. We got about 3.5 inches or so from that nor'easter. Here, there was other places that got more. No real destruction around here. I guess there was some tidal stuff, which is the big concern with these storms. The tide is already high and close in places, and when we get these storms, it can go up enough to really damage some people's property and houses and things. And that was the worry. And thankfully, it wasn't atrocious. But yeah, it was nice weather. I got to the range. Had a good time there. Like I said, just it's been nice. It's been nice fall weather, which is really, really nice. Hoping to get some a nice walk in on Sunday, and we're hoping to go visit a friend that I haven't seen soon enough, near enough, often enough tomorrow. So should be a good weekend too. Mike, how you been doing? How's your weather?
Oh man, doing good. Been out shooting some. Earlier this week, Ames, she was sick, had a cold, and head cold, moved into her chest, and I'd be doggone and she wasn't trying to share it with me now.
She shared, yeah, I can see that. Hope you're all right. Hope she's all right.
Yeah, I've been fighting a head cold the last few days, but I still got to go out and shoot some. So, yeah, we had actually a new rifle come to the channel. Rossi lever action, so
nice. What's the
all right? That
what caliber?
22 long rifle. It's
okay.
My mind went blank.
I don't remember the number, but I can see it in my brain. It's a little different.
Yeah,
nice.
This one actually, Jamie would be proud. It's tack. It's got a pick rail on it and a threaded barrel. So, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to put a suppressor on it.
Yeah, put the anechoic on
it. Yeah, I actually went out and just put a few rounds to it today, just to make me smile. So.
Yeah, I've been playing with the suppressors too. It's new to. I've been around them for a long time. I never owned one until recently, and it's like they're a lot of fun.
It's going to be a great small varmint gun. I mean, no doubt. Well, thanks for having me tonight, guys and girls. Appreciate everybody out in the side chat and on the panel. Bama Dad, how you been doing this week?
Pretty good. Had some fun Wednesday. Went shooting with a few fellers, Jamie and Kyle Lusk, and what was the other guy's name? I'm bad with names.
Jamie. It was Ricky Baird.
Yeah. We had a good time. Learned I'm not real great at mounting scopes.
I offered to bring it home and fix it for you.
Well, it's one of them things I figured I need to learn how to do. I mean, I don't know what happened. I've never had a problem before, but that one, it was shooting about a foot low.
Bama Dad, when you do 100 to 200 a year,
you get good at it.
You get really good at it. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tear it all. I've got it all torn down. I'm going to go back together with it tomorrow and see what we get.
We'll get into that.
Everything's been good. How you been doing, Rebel?
We're starting to get wide open at the store. Sold a boat paddle Ruger today, which for whatever reason, there's a group of people that just
love or hate.
Love those things. And this was in 300 Win Mag. And I'm like,
I think we looked at it. We were there.
Yeah, you did. I've had
Yeah.
it that long. And
Yeah.
that's an ass kicker. I mean, it really is. And a dude come in last week, he looked at it, he didn't pull the trigger. He came in today with a wad of cash. He said, I gotta ask. He was real polite about it. Would you take this? And he offered $100 less. And Trent looked at me, and I know that was mostly Trent's deal. And I said, Trent, what we got in it? And Trent's really good at hand signals. He's like, we had our own Hayden, Alabama podcast. It ought to be the Bullseye podcast or whatever, because Trent's kind of like Blink on Hayden, Alabama, if y'all have ever seen him. Trent's like, and I understood him. That's a scary thing. That's a scary thing. And I was like, okay, we're making money. And I told the guy, yeah, we'll take that. Well, then he started asking about the 2 antique Winchester 22s I got sitting up there. And Trent showed him both those. And Trent said, my God, he said he had a wad of cash. I said, well, who knows? I said, he has a good job. Maybe he's a meth dealer. I don't know. I said, but he passed a background. He's got concealed carry, so he ain't been caught yet. And he said, I'll be back. So I hope he comes back tomorrow and or next week and buys one of those old 22s, either the Remington or the Winchester. So things are speeding up there. I did a little gunsmithing this week, which I shared on before we went live, and I actually had a trigger that was no good. It was actually bad for the factory, and I'm having one sent to me. And when I get it installed, I'll talk glowingly about it. But right now, it's I'm waiting on it, the replacement to get here. So we'll see what happens. But it's on a Remington 308 heavy barrel. I put a HS Precision stock on it, and I turned a $600 rifle into a CW $1,200 rifle. Yeah, so we'll run it through its paces. I like taking a factory rifle and hand loading for it, and just seeing how precise I can get with it. So we'll see if it shoots. If it don't shoot, I'll send it down the road. Anyway, Walter, what you got, buddy?
Well, I had a good week also. We had rain over the weekend, which is always a scary thing at this time in California because of all the fires up in our hills and mountains. The soil types are such that they're always real prone to slides and such if the grass is gone and not there to hold it. But we got lucky and no one had to be evacuated, didn't lose any structures or anything in that one. And it was a big rain for us. I had 2 inches, and that's a lot of rain for this area. We almost never see that in one storm come through. But anyway, so that was good. I got to the range this week, and I had picked up a couple of new guns. I bought a Ruger. Let me get the number. LCP Max, the 380 Max, 10 rounder.
A dinky gun. Yeah,
it's a dinky gun. I got a couple other dinks, and I also, just to spite my wonderful governor, who, along with our almost as wonderful, maybe worse, Attorney General, pushed through a law that says we're going to ban all Glocks and anything that looks like a Glock in the state of California come July 1st of next year. So I bought another Glock. This was a Glock 20 10 millimeter, and Jamie was talking about triggers because we were talking about them before we went live, and that thing has the worst trigger of any firearm I've ever bought. It is just absolutely terrible. You go in and pull. Finally, you hit the wall, and it's a freaking brick wall. You got to get out there with your hammer and pound your end of your finger to get the thing to go off. I'm throwing lead this way and that way and up and down. Oh man, this thing is terrible. So anyway, I got a new trigger coming for it. We're going to put a new barrel in it and a couple other bits and pieces and make it work right. But boy, I was unpleasantly surprised. I think I've got 5 other Glocks, and that is by far the worst that I've ever put my fingers on as far as a trigger group. So got a Timney trigger coming for it, and we'll fix her up.
Walter, it's nice to know there's one out there worse than a High Point.
Oh, High Point would be like a Cadillac compared to this, and I'm telling you. So we did that, and I got some videos out this week, and had some fun. It's always kind of fun to sit there. Sometimes it seems like drudgery to put a half-hour show together. You know,
we had a twofer from you this week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I just put up another one this afternoon, so it's been a threefer. So anyway, yeah, good week for me. Lots of time shooting, lots of time doing video and working on the bench and so forth. Rainy day, I cleaned up the bench. It needed it. Projects all over the place. So ended the projects that I wasn't going to finish and finished the ones that needed to be ended. And so good day for me here. Mr. Lusk down there in the basement. What's happening with you this week? Yeah, down there. Yeah, right down there in that hole down there.
Where all the mold grows. Yeah.
Talking about high points, I've actually got some, and they're actually decent shooters. That's the only reason I kept them. I mean, they're, you might as well throw them at somebody instead of shoot them. But yeah, I've shot Glocks where you couldn't hit the broadside of a barn standing inside of it. So I'm very familiar with that trigger problem that you've got. Had a very great week. Spent some time with some good people, and we had a lot of fun. I actually took the 1891 Argentine out. It does go boom.
All right.
Also found out that I need to load the rounds a lot hotter because bunny farts is an understatement. I thought I had a squib load, and I actually took the bolt out just to make sure that there wasn't something stuck in the barrel. Only thing stuck in the barrel was unburnt powder.
Mm.
Yeah, but it did shoot.
Well, that's
and
good.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And Jamie is a marksman and doesn't even know it. And inadvertently, we got introduced to somebody that we didn't intend to meet on the way there. I'll let Jamie tell you about that if he wants to. Other than that, it was a great week. Had a lot of fun.
Jamie?
I just tell folks I like to shoot rifle. Anyway, I think what he's referring to is at the 300-yard range, I shot a .1 MOA group at 300 yards and a .5 MOA group at 600 yards.
Damn good shooting.
That's awesome, Jamie.
Both me and the range officer went, you're supposed to shoot 3 shots.
It's a count.
With what? With what?
And then Jamie goes, look on the side. There's 3 different chronograph readings. You tell me. I was like, oh, my God, that's great.
What'd you shoot that with, Jamie?
My Ruger American 6.5 Creed.
It wasn't a 270.
Ah, I hear you.
You hear that, Walt?
6.5 need more. Strikes again. I hear you. That's awesome.
Yeah, Vanessa Kitty, it was with the DNT Optics, the 1 scope.
You didn't do that open sight?
Dude,
No.
as I'm growing older, I find that my scopes have to have more and more and more magnification.
Yeah, I can't see y'all if I take these off, and these are reading glasses. So, I keep these down on my nose so I can see y'all's wonderful faces.
I offered Ricky to shoot my 308, and he got behind the scope, and he goes, I can't even see the target. because I run a fixed 10 power.
Oh, fixed 10.
I beat you to it tonight, but
I'll tell you, I haven't done a whole pile of long range stuff, but a little bit that I've done, a couple of my rifles only have 12s, and I had no problem seeing 800 yards with 12.
No,
I mean, I'm not going to shoot an eyeball, but I have no problem hitting.
You figure Vietnam snipers use 10x for
That's what I'm used to is 10 power. So
yeah, and it's easy to do the math if you're doing mills.
I get behind somebody else's scope with like 28s or something like that. I'm like, that's cheating.
The other side of that is if you're not using a high end scope, of 24 power, it's probably not nearly as clear as a lesser brand scope at 12 power, because you got a lot
better
less
glass. Yeah.
You got a lot less you're looking through.
I don't know. I can't remember the exact statement when Jamie got behind my 6BR and looked through that night for scope, but he looked back at me and said, "Dude, this ain't right." It was something like I was like, "You can see into the future, can't you?"
Yeah.
Like that. And he was like,
Also, Kyle's is a fixed, right?
Yeah.
So a fixed power scope has less glass than a variable.
Yes,
so
it
it's going to
actually
be
gives
clearer
you
and brighter. Also,
clearer picture. Yep.
Yeah.
Jamie shot it, and I was telling him where to aim with it because I don't want to mess with the turrets on the scope unless I have to. And I said, you see you have a tick, 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 big line, tick, 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 big line. I said, go to the second big line and put the tick above it. He said, I can barely see the big lines, much less the tick.
I couldn't, man. I really couldn't. But yeah, man, I don't know how he ain't in the side chat yet, is he? I don't know how many of y'all know Ricky Baird, and I don't know how well you know him, but we're driving to Bamalama, and we're just talking up a storm. Or, me and Kyle get to say something every once in a while, Anyway, we're tooling down the road, and all of a sudden, we go by a state patrol, Alabama state trooper, in a hole in the woods. And the next thing I know, he's behind me with the blue lights flashing. And I pulled over and
eventually.
Well, I had to find a place to pull over. We're on a 2-lane country road, and I wasn't pulling in somebody's driveway. So it took a while to get pulled over, and he wrote me a warning ticket. Around here, cops want to have a kind of a little conversation with you, and almost an argument kind of thing, And I ain't gonna argue with you, And if you're gonna write me a ticket, write the ticket. I need to get on with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But he gave me a warning ticket and let us go. But he didn't have a lot to say. He was. He said you were speeding.
He had 2 questions. Can I see your license and what year is your vehicle? And he said, I'll be right back. I was like, oh, no.
He didn't even ask any questions. He said, I need to see your license. Then he asked what year the vehicle was, and he said, you were speeding. And when I looked down, I was running 65, which is about right on a country road. And then we got down a little bit, and there was a sign that said 45. And 45 was the speed limit. And Ricky was doing the navigating. And, usually on maps, they got the speed limit on the maps, of the road you're driving on. Well, that didn't happen. And Kyle said, well, wonder why? And I said, because nobody knows what the speed limit is except for that dang cop back there.
That's right.
So anyway, I probably was driving too fast, and we were probably talking too much, but he didn't have a lot to say. I didn't have a lot to say because I wasn't asking anything,
Yeah. Yeah, I hate the cops that treat you like he might be 30 years younger than you, He talks to you like you're a little kid. I look at him and go, this is not advice. Trust me. All right, this is not advice. I look at him and say, look, boy, if you're gonna write me a ticket, write me a ticket. Otherwise, shut up. Like I've done that before, and it kind of compounds. You know, you got speeding, and you got a dent in your bumper, and you got, you know, oh Lord, yeah. So I try to keep my mouth stapled shut. Sometimes it's hard, dude. If all you got's a warning, Jamie, you done good.
Hey, Boomstick. There's a question from Glenn Davis. I'll let y'all take care of that one because I ain't got a clue. I would get a gunsmith to do it, particularly for what them barrels cost. But other than that, I got no input on that.
Yeah, that's a gunsmith thing.
$450.
I wouldn't. 5 Super Max. Yeah, I'd get a gunsmith to do it, Glenn. I would make sure it's right.
I've done a bunch of them, and they're really, if you've got any kind of experience with hand with your hand, it's not a big deal. It's you just got to make sure you get the reamer that's for a rifle, because a handgun isn't going to have the pilot on it to give you your guide.
Doesn't he need a finish reamer too, CW, that's flat?
Just the finish is all you'll use.
Okay, gotcha.
Just all you use, and it's only lengthening the chamber. So I've done a dozen or more maximums. I've done a couple of 327s out of 32 H&Rs, and you just go slow. Use a lot of oil. Go slow, a couple turns, take it out, clean it off, put it back in. Rotate your body position. Rotate the barrel in the vise, so you're never leaning on one side because you're using your hands. So you spin things around, and you'll be fine. And dicum the recess for the rim, and as soon as you touch it, stop. Do not cut it because you don't want to deepen that rim. You'll change your headspace.
There you go, Glenn.
And that's it. It's really not a big deal, but you gotta don't rush it. Go slow. Pull the reamer out. Clean it all off. Put it back in. Blow out the barrel. Just a turn or two. Take it out. Clean it off. Re-oil it. Put it back in. You'll be more in and out than you will the time it takes to cut it.
And I'm telling you to get
but that's just on extending like this. Making a 357 from a 38, making a 357 maximum from a magnum, making a 327 from a 32, making a 445 from a 44 mag. Don't do bottlenecks. Don't do anything else. They're all different. But the straight wall stuff, as long as you get the one with the pilot on the end, you're running on that pilot in your bore, you're okay. You're going to be okay doing it by hand.
I'm telling you to get a gunsmith, and then what
if
it
you
is,
don't trust yourself,
I'm just like CW. I dive into stuff and start carving, and
if you don't trust yourself, get a gunsmith.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know my own weaknesses, but I'll dive in.
Cylinder on a revolver would be really hard to do it by hand because there's nothing there to support you. You can't freehand cut without something to support the end of that reamer.
Right.
You need a lathe or a Bridgeport or something that's going to support things. But a barrel, as long as you get one that's cut for a rifle, so it has a pilot on the end, you can do it. You can do it by hand, no problem.
That's no different than turning brass necks, is it?
It's really not. It's you go slow. You can't cut the whole thing like put it in a drill bit. You got to do it by hand with a tap wrench. You do a turn or two, take it back out, get a old toothbrush, clean it all off, re-oil it, blow out your barrel, do it again. Pull it out, check it, watch, magic marker or dicum in your rim recess and watch it close. Get a really good light. As soon as you touch it, stop. You're done. You're deep enough.
So gunsmith it is. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, but I stayed in the Holiday Inn last night.
You can't be scared, Kyle. You just got to dive in there and do it.
Hey, Ricky Baird. There's Ricky Baird, y'all.
Hey, Ricky.
Speaking of the navigator.
Y'all don't tell him what I said about him.
Yeah,
Hell, we sit in the car.
shouldn't do
Ricky,
that.
Jamie said you was a Hucklebuck navigator.
Didn't tell me how fast I was going, did you?
Yeah, that's right. Hucklebuck.
Jamie, in all fairness, you're the one with the speedometer in your face.
Well,
That is true. Kyle, you just had to point that out, didn't you?
Well, I'm good at stating the obvious because that's usually all I pick up on.
but yeah, it was
It was a
fun
good time.
day.
We had a great time.
It was a fun day. I know Bama Dad didn't have the greatest time, and I wanted so to help him. But, you know,
Well, Bama needs help. You know, he does.
yeah, he needs help.
He's special.
There's another thought.
There he is. I knew he'd come back.
See, this is a thing, man. I think it was Glenn talking about 445 Super Mag. And Thorzak's Dave was talking about he had an original contender barrel and 44 mag, and he reamed it out to 444 Marlin. That seems like a more
That's a
natural
lot.
thing,
Well, that's
That's a-
444 is almost doubling the length of a 44.
right?
That's
where
a
445
lot of
is only
metal.
about a quarter inch longer.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. But the thing that concerns me about all of it is y'all being able to find brass for this stuff.
It's there if you look for it. It might cost the you know what out of you, but it's there.
That 445 is a stout.
Yeah.
It's about equal to a 450 Bushmaster.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dave. he
It's
didn't
stout.
do it.
Speaking of 450 Bushmasters, CW, I thought about you today. A guy transferred a Thompson Encore and 450 Bushmaster with a barrel that was about that big around with a
Truck axle.
brake on the end of it.
Oh,
Yeah. And I
Like
said,
it
what
has
are you
horrendous
going to
recoil.
Well, I said, what are you going to do with that? He said, shoot stuff. And I mean, here we are at deer season. He already had a burst scope on it. So he's going to go make sure it's sighted in, and he's already got the ammo, and he's going to blast does with it. So Colt, are we talking about Colt, or are we going to keep on freewheeling?
We're going to just freewheel for a couple more minutes because it's almost time for us to call out the side chat.
That suits me. We can do good at freewheeling.
I got a quick question. You know, we don't do politics on this live stream, but just a quick question. A yes or no answer will suffice.
No.
You ain't heard the question yet, but I understand. Do y'all get emails from Trump asking for money?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
And half of
I did, and some texts too, but they always gave an option to opt out, and I did that and never heard from him again. I was not real sure that it was from him.
That's my worry. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I think like 90% of those things for to raise money like that are not legit.
Yep.
Well, Trump's first term, I got on whitehouse.gov and I got emails from the White House, just updates. I mean, it was all BS, but you know, it was nice. And then I didn't get rid of it, so I started getting emails from Biden because I was on that list, and so I'd cuss about every month. I'd just light into a blistering cuss fit and just delete it. And somewhere or another, I must have blocked it because I don't get any official White House emails anymore.
You're on the list. You made the list.
If Trump wants to ask me for money, instead of texting me or emailing me, I want my phone to ring, and I want to hear his voice saying, "That's a beautiful number. There's not many like that's a beautiful phone number." You know what I'm saying? And then I'll give you $1. You know.
Yeah,
See,
hey, that's right.
Walks, Artac, Bobby Barlow, Papa's Place, and Dale Poe do not get emails from Trump asking for money.
Well, it
That's
depends on
beautiful email.
where you go, where your trails lie, what forums, what organizations you belong to, that's where it comes from. It's basically spam.
You get on
Yeah.
any political, you get on any political mailing list, they share it with everybody in their ilk.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I think, man.
Also,
I think,
these places we buy stuff from, Natchez and Midway and Mid South, they could sell stuff too.
They
Yep.
sell,
Yeah.
they all sell it. Somebody
You know
sold
where
our number.
you know where I got the weirdest when I was getting the weirdest emails, CW? When I was on 300blackout.com. And
I went back there last week, and it's like
it's
crickets.
dead.
Yeah,
It's gone.
tumbleweeds rolling around.
I can't even look at it. Okay. I mean, it won't even show me the forum. But
I had to finagle to get it to come up. It's totally different.
but I knew we all said we had manufacturers watching us because we would gripe that there wasn't a powder that could do this, and then boom, Hodgkin would produce a powder.
Yeah,
There
CFP
wasn't
Black came out. Yeah.
there wasn't a bullet that could do this, and boom, Hornady would have a bullet. And I was like, we're being watched. They're looking at us, and but I get some strange emails from gun companies I never even heard of. A lot of it was spam, but
Well, I'll tell you what, Hodgkins, for 6 months, you couldn't buy Rotumbo powder for nothing. And now all of a sudden, everybody's got it in stock.
Yeah, a
I
lot of
don't-
stuff is coming back. Alliance got a lot of their stuff back on the shelf too. Bullseye and Unique and 2400.
a lot of that depends on where you're at in the United States. So,
And I'm sure also how much you sell.
well, I sell a lot of powder, Bama Dad. And
Locally, I can't get it, but I can get it from Mid-South, and all the people I buy from
Right.
online have it, but nobody locally's got it.
well, that's what I was going to ask you. If locally, if you could get it, and if you can't get it locally, that tells you something. So I can't get it either. H1000 Rotumbo, none of the Magnum powder.
Yeah,
So-
and you can't get it. Not locally, anyway.
I seen 2400 yesterday, Glenn Davis, but it was on a website and it was expensive. Anyway,
I got-
Republic has it.
Hey, I need a good shoulder pad for my stock on my rifle.
we're late calling out the side chat right now. So, hey, garage guy,
What was I going to say?
I
Colt?
don't know.
that's Walter's.
Yeah, let's do Colt.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
do Colt. That'd be good. So, garage guy is here, and then boom.
Light her up.
All right, here we go. Y'all ready? Walter was first. He's on the panel. Viejo is on the panel and in the side chat. Kyle Lusk is also on the panel and in the side chat. Hillbilly Up is on the panel and the side chat. Walks Fletcher is out there. Mike the Rebel Hester is on the side chat and the panel. Glenn Davis, Bama Dad's on the panel as well. So is CW Longshot. Artac and Daughters is out there. Bobby Barlow, Edward Petty, Walks Fletcher. Fudd with a gun. What's up, man? Mark Thomas is out there. Dale Pogue, 01 guy. Ron 2A Matters. James Pugh, welcome in, buddy. Ozzy Osbourne, Boomstick. Dwayne, 7834, Papa's Place. Thorzax. Mr. Pollard. Casey Dolph, Dale Pogue. Oh, they're talking. I ain't supposed to call them out but once, right? Rebel 67 Rebel SST AMC Crash. Robert C. Nadal.
They do.
They do.
That's Uncle Bob.
I thought so. Vanessa Kitty's out there. Well, hey, Uncle Bob. I love that dude. And I think Glenn Davis is out there. He put go. I don't know. All right, I think we're up to date for the moment. We want to thank all of y'all for showing up. We're showing 42 of y'all nice folks out here investing your most valuable commodity with us this evening. That is your time. So, do we want to talk a little bit about Colt now?
Sure enough.
Okay, if I remember correctly, we had talked up to the Colt 1889, which was the world's first double action swing out cylinder revolver, and that's a game changer. Everything that came after it had to have that. They named that gun the New Navy model of 1889. And it was bought by the Army in 1892, so they changed the name to the Colt New Army and Navy model. Colt uses that word new a lot in their stuff, don't they? And Colt would always keep selling a gun as long as it was selling, even after they had come out with updated versions, like the 1894, 1895, 1896, 1901, and 1903. But they kept making, and they sold several 100,000 of those. In 1895, Colt bought out a totally new design action in the Colt New Pocket Revolver. This was a small frame, concealable double action that was the ancestor of all Colts to follow until 1969. Only slightly modified over the years, this action was the basis for virtually every Colt double action revolver to follow, and it was last used in the Colt Python until it was discontinued in 2003, 2004. The next advance in double action design came in 1898 with the Colt New Service. The New Service was a large frame revolver intended for the most powerful cartridges of the day. So meanwhile, Colt was modifying the pocket model into what would be Colt's small frame revolver, the Police Positive, made for short cartridges, and the Police Positive Special, made for the longer 38 Special. It was the Police Positive Special that would be made as one of Colt's most popular and famous guns, the Colt Detective Special. In 1908, Colt introduced the revolver that would set the standard for the next 60 years. This new medium frame revolver was known as the Colt Army Special. It was the replacement for the overly complex, fragile new Army and Navy models. So that replaced the model of the 1890, whatever it was. The Army Special was an immediate hit with law enforcement and civilians, sold very well. The Army Special was the basis for every Colt medium frame revolver that would follow, and was made in a number of formats from service pistols to target revolvers. And after World War II, Colt began developing firearms made from new materials. This is going to hurt some of y'all's feelings. In 1950, Colt introduced a small frame revolver based on the Detective Special using an aluminum frame. The Cobra and the Agent were the world's first aluminum framed revolvers and would be bestsellers for many years. And in the late 60s, the cost of Colt revolvers were pricing them out of the highly competitive market because of the extensive hand labor needed to build them. Colt decided to develop an entirely new action design, the first since the Army Special of 1908, This new design would take full advantage of the latest manufacturing methods and would eliminate as much hand labor as possible. In 1969, Colt introduced this new design as the Mark III. This was a totally new revolver with nothing in common with the older guns. Instead of the old Colt positive safety design, which employed a rebounding hammer and an internal hammer block system, the new design used a transfer bar safety and ignition system. In this system, when the trigger is pulled, a steel block rises up between the hammer and the frame-mounted firing pin. When the hammer drops, it strikes the transfer bar, which in turn strikes the firing pin, transferring the force. If the trigger is released, the transfer bar instantly drops down and the hammer cannot contact the firing pin. This new system was very safe and was both less complex and cheaper to manufacture. I'm going to go through one more thing and then we'll talk about something else. So the new revolver was manufactured using internal parts made of sintered steel, SINTERED steel. This is a process in which powdered steel is heated in a mold until it melts, filling the mold. When the mold is opened, a virtually finished part is ready for surface hardening and finishing. Since these molded parts could be made to very tight tolerances, this allowed less skilled production personnel to assemble the guns. When building a new Mark III revolver, the production fitter would pull part from a bin full of parts and test fit it. If the part wasn't a perfect fit, the assembler simply selected another part from the bin until one did fit correctly. This was much faster than the old way of a master assembler hand filing, stoning, and bending parts to build a gun. This new design revolver was extremely strong and was said by master gunsmith Jerry Kuhnhausen to be possibly the strongest medium-frame double-action revolver ever made. As with the Army Special, Colt used the basic Mark III action as the basis for an entire series of revolvers, ranging from a fixed-sight 38 Special Service revolver to the deluxe Trooper Mark III 357 Magnum adjustable sight model. In 1983, Colt introduced a slightly modified version of the Mark III as the Mark IV. In the early 1980s, Colt introduced stainless steel into their line of revolvers with the first stainless steel Pythons. And in 1985, Colt used slightly modified version of the Mark IV to make a stainless steel revolver as the King Cobra. And I have a list here of the different frames and the chronology of double action revolvers, but it's quite involved. It would take me a long, long time to read this to y'all. But if y'all would like, I can put a link to this article in the side chat. Anybody interested in that?
Yeah, do that. Be a good reference.
Bearded CB. What's up, brother? Yeah. Let me see if I can do this.
You can. We've seen you do it before.
Yeah.
You got an up arrow now. You can do it. You got an up arrow.
Let me do that. Well, I can't do that. I was going to pin it to the top, but I have to be signed on as Georgia Shooting Connection to do that. And that's it right there. It's a very good article. I like it. So it's out there in the side chat. If y'all want to copy and paste it for later.
Okay.
Any questions or comments about Colt, or do y'all want to talk about triggers some more?
Yeah, talk about triggers somewhere.
Oh Lord, we're gonna get triggered.
Kyle, you shot my 350 Legend at the range Wednesday.
With your force reset trigger.
The trigger's pretty rough on that one, and I got another lower that I have one of those Rise Armament Rave 140s. I like that trigger. Have anybody on the panel or the side chat got any experience with that particular trigger?
I don't know which it is, but I have a Rise arm in one of my ARs. It's a cartridge you drop in.
Right. They also make a component style 2-stage, which I'm thinking about buying for that 350 Legend. I really, really, really like 2-stage triggers.
I'm just the opposite, Jamie. I'm a single stage guy. But I like bolt actions.
Well, I was telling Kyle, I'm not really a fan of the AR platform.
I've become one over time. Once I started talking to mad scientists like CW and Dellett and other people, here's a really cool trick that everybody can do if they've got any kind of mechanical ability. So McMaster.car.com, they have a ton of these. So here is an Allen head stainless steel screw that is the same, I think, quarter 28 that goes in the grip handle. If you take a simple tap that you can get from Lowe's and take the trigger out and tap that hole all the way through, because it's not.
Some are.
Some are, most aren't. Then you take a set screw like this, Allen head, and you run that up, install your trigger back, and you run that Allen head up, and you start, as it starts touching your trigger, you'll start seeing the take up in that trigger. You'll see your trigger move. And
you may need a longer one than that. Sometimes a short one works. Sometimes you need a longer one.
Right. And I got the longer this. I replaced the grip screw. So that set screw goes up and takes up a lot of the over travel. And I run it till it actually goes click and goes off, and then back it off. Mm-hmm. And then Loctite it, and then install your handle, use this screw, and
you can see it and get at it, opening the upper receiver up. You can look right down there and see it.
Yeah. And it makes for an awesome trigger. Now
it makes as good as you can get with a mil spec trigger.
Yeah, I mean, and some polishing, some spring work, you can really improve it. You don't want like primer strikes, so I tend to run a mil spec hammer spring and a lighter trigger spring. I ran national match hammer springs before, and that and CCIs don't play well, because they're hard. But it makes for a nice trigger. Really does. Almost single stage. Almost. You're taking the first stage out of it.
Yeah, you can actually also buy a setup like what Mike's told you. Only it has a bolt that's drilled and threaded inside, and it has a really long set screw inside the main grip screw bolt, and it does the same thing. It just costs you money. So if you don't want to fiddle around with what Mike suggested, if you hunt around on the interwebs, you can find just a bolt with a threaded, what is it called? A cap screw inside, a threaded grub screw inside, and it'll do the same thing. It's just a little bit fancier.
Yeah, I've had guys on my more precision ARs, even my little short barrel rifle. I've had guys pull the trigger and go, "Oh my Lord, that's fantastic! What trigger is that?" Oh, I did it myself.
Yeah,
and they're out here.
LaRue does a sale, or used to do a sale about once a year on their mil spec trigger.
That's a nice trigger. I have one. It's not installed, but it's a nice.
What do they run, Mike? They're just 180 or 160.
Yeah, something like that.
And they used to go for $100 when they went on sale. And that you're not going to get a better, my opinion, a better trigger for that money.
No.
In a mil spec style. And you do that, and then you do what Mike told you there, and you've got as good a trigger as you're going to get without spending a whole pile of money.
Yeah. So, like I said before, when we come to chambering a 445, I'm not scared to go in there and mess up something. You can always back up and, oh well, I screwed that up. You don't want to screw up a barrel, but sometimes
who is that? Glenn Davis that wanted to do that?
Sometimes you just got to do things yourself.
I think you've got my contact information, Glenn. If you're still out there, if you want to do it, or you want to drop me an email, we can swap phone numbers, and I can talk to you on the phone. And if you doubt yourself, don't do it. But if you're at all handy with your hands and do stuff, I think you can probably do it. It's not that difficult. It's just unknown.
If CW's talking you through it, it's like having Dr. Phil right there next to you.
They got the same hairstyle.
I've done it a lot.
Right.
I've done it quite a few times, and I wouldn't guide you on something I didn't think you could do. So I can probably figure out talking to you and see what you think yourself.
We know quite a few folks that doctor their own triggers. As long as you can drop them and they don't go off, I guess it's okay. And Walter's already confessed that he has already ordered another trigger. And I've confessed that I have that Rise Armament and think about buying another one. So
for the Beretta?
No. I don't know what to do with that thing. I'm thinking about digging in and doing it myself.
I tell you, that thing feels so good in your hand. And then you squeeze the trigger.
Yeah.
And squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Yeah. I hear you.
Well, y'all remember Smith & Wesson had a revolver they called the Lemon Squeeze.
Yep, I did.
Yeah. Well, Smith & Wesson also had a series. It was the Miami Vice era of Smith & Wesson. They had really sexy looking double action only revolvers, and some were DA and SADA, but their triggers were like break, and a lot of police departments went to them. And a buddy of mine was his brother was a state trooper. They had Berettas, and he was a town clown, as I used to kid him all the time. And they had Smith & Wessons, and I couldn't shoot that thing. I was like, my God, what a horrible trigger. I said, I guess if you stuck it in the guy's gut and started yanking, it'd do the job. But other than that, that really bothered me, all that travel.
You're going to have a lot of shots low and to the right.
Yeah, there wasn't a wall on those triggers. It wasn't like you pulled it up and hit a wall. It was you pulled it. sponge, 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 sponge. Oh, wet sponge, bang. You know, and I just hated those triggers.
Ricky's home, James.
I seen that.
How far do you have to travel, Jamie?
Till he got home.
Oh, come on.
He was indisposed and sent me a text. So I don't know what he wants out there, so I don't want to say, but he's home now, so that's all good.
So, Hillbilly, you got any experience with aftermarket triggers?
Oh, not really. I guess probably the best trigger I got, and it came in the gun, is a adjustable Aki trigger. But yeah, I don't have any aftermarket triggers. It's kind of like an old car. Spending money on a trigger, I mean, it's great. It's like getting you a nice seat and stuff in the car or whatever. But yeah, I tend to spend my money on shiny wheels and chrome on the outside, so which is probably not the smartest thing to do. But I do need. There's some rifles and stuff I do need to just suck it up and get an aftermarket trigger in for sure. I mean, they're like, you talk to 10 different people and you'll get 7 different answers on what trigger to get. So I think a lot of it's just what you prefer.
For years, there was only one trigger in the Venturist world. And then there were 2. And now there's only one again. Jules gone out of business. The old man retired and left to his son, and he got crappy, and the quality got crappy, and the Venturist world said to it, if you're not going to make a good trigger, then done. And so Bix and Andy is all the new rage, but my God, those things are approaching $400 just a trigger for like a bat or 700 action or whatever, 700 style firing system. Trigger Tech is super nice, but they don't make a Venturist trigger. They make a trigger to go down the ounces, but it's not low enough for the short range Venturist guys. Those guys want to be able to breathe on it and send it, So that whole aftermarket thing for bolt action rifles, at least in the Remington 700 style, is kind of narrowed a little bit. But Trigger Tech's probably the biggest player in the game as far as all spectrums. And they've got some really good AR triggers. I've installed those for customers, and their diamond trigger, Lord, that thing feels fantastic in an AR platform, especially the straight trigger. Kind of fools your brain into think you're pulling less.
In my AR, I've got an ALG Defense, which is
that's Mr. Geisley's wife, and she sells a good trigger. Yep.
For the money, it's been a good trigger, and it's close to mil spec, but it's nicer.
Yeah.
Well, mil spec's wonderful till you realize how crappy mil spec actually is.
Yeah, that's the lowest bidder.
That's what I said. It's fashioned after mil spec, but it doesn't feel like a mil spec.
Fashioned after mil spec means if you squeeze it hard enough, it'll go off.
That's right. And you got to remember, in mil spec, if you squeeze it hard enough with the switch in the right position, it's a lead hose. So, who cares how good the trigger is? It's like there's the market's saturated with good triggers for ARs.
Yeah, so than a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I think I have probably 4 different cassette drop-ins, and I've got a couple of LaRue's. I've had a couple different LaRue's. And
How you like the LaRue's?
I like them a lot. I get them. I bought them when they were on sale, 100, 125 bucks on sale, and they drop in. They're like a military, like a mil spec trigger.
There's a LaRue in a bag. Yeah, I haven't installed that one yet. So
They're the component style, right? Not the cassette type.
Right.
yeah, they're component style. The cassette type is super easy to install. You just got to watch. They say snug those set screws on that rear pin. Well, I snugged them. The first one I installed for a guy, and then the trigger wouldn't work. And I said, well, snug is an arbitrary term. Let me back off them with just a quarter turn. I backed off, the trigger worked fine. So they're sensitive.
Also know that a lot of these cassette triggers do not work with PCCs. Even though the receiver's the same and everything, they don't work. So if you're trying to do it with a 9mm or 45 or something, you may need to get a different kind of trigger.
Yeah.
But a 223, a 556, any of the rifle cartridges, it'll work fine.
Conventional gas system.
350 Legend, 6.5 AR, Grendel, 450 Bushmaster, 48 SOCOM, any of the typical AR type calibers.
I was going to say, CW, we'll be here all night if you keep naming.
Well,
Let's address this comment by Papa's Place. Invest in you some gunsmithing stones. Get you some stones, and and if it's an older gun, it's probably wore smooth by now. It probably ain't gritty or anything like that.
let me give you a real important thing if you're going to start grinding on trigger parts. A lot of them are not completely hardened. They're surface hardened. If you go crazy and recut angles or grind too much, you can get a beautiful trigger. It'll be forever changing and become very, very dangerous.
And Savage is one of those.
Any kind of work you do with a stone or anything, all you want to do is polish. Don't remove. Just polish.
Well, I was going to go to another step and suggest that instead of him even using stones, like he says this is an older gun, why not just polish it with flits and get you a spring kit?
Yeah, you can do a lot with just a spring kit. Really, you can.
If you got a newer trigger, an Accu trigger, for God's sake, and trust me from experience, whatever you do, I'm not dogging a company out here. I bought a Rifle Basics trigger for a new Savage Accu trigger, and it uses part of the old Accu trigger, and then part of the Rifle Basics.
Yeah, they make.
And I lightened that thing down to 9 ounces, and I was like, "Man, this trigger feels amazing." Except when you diddle with the safety or you put it on safety, it bumped off. So I called Rifle Basics. I got a hold of the owner, and he told me very simply, "Don't use the safety." I was like, "It's a hunting gun." Well, don't use the safety.
Hey, don't load it.
I was like, okay. So
I just made mine a little heavier.
I took it to a gunsmith and I had to bring it up to 1.5 pounds
Yeah, that's what.
before. Yeah, and I I ended up moving that rifle down the road. It was a really nice rifle, but I sit there and I tell everybody what a sickness that everybody on this panel has, from Hillbilly to Jamie to CW to me to down to Bama Dad to Kyle. I said, I've got too many 308s. I'm going to send this one down the road. And I sold it for about what I paid for it. Macmillan stock, the whole 9 yards. Nice gun. And turned around 2 months later and a Remington heavy barrel came into my life and I bought it. So I'm right back to that many 308s again, and I'm holy crap, man. You there's something wrong with you. But yeah, that if you take out that trigger, if you take out that blade, you just made a very dangerous thing. That trigger is very specific into how it works, and you got to be very careful. It's not.
But
It's
to
not.
address
It's not.
something,
Yeah.
to address something that both of y'all are talking about here, I would say that we just assume that the hardened part of the steel parts on triggers is only 4 thousandths thick. So you need to not remove material, just polish the material.
Yeah, I use a Shamus wheel, and in Triple E are either like flits,
Just think about polishing, just making it smooth.
Yeah.
Nah, you're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah. If you do that, Papa's Place, I think you'll be fine. The trigger kit and Ricky Bear bought one of these big, nice buffing wheels from Harbor Freight, and he polished up all of the doorknobs for his new house for his house. He took the old ones that they were painted and all that stuff, and he polished them back down to the brass, and they shine like a new penny, man. They look great. And take that approach with your trigger work, and that's all you really need to do.
Yeah.
And remain safe about it.
I'm sitting here in the gun room now, so the engagement surfaces on AR, you're looking at the trigger and their light polish and their light polish, and then it is what it is until you change springs. I mean, it's all it's going to be.
Especially a mil spec trigger.
Exactly.
You can take it to your gunsmith.
Well, there's look. I mean, you got there's hammer springs and there's hammer springs. I mean, you got look how many coils on that one.
Yeah.
And then coils on that one. And on the national match, which I don't have one bare, obviously, it looks more like this trigger spring, okay, which is just a couple coils, and thing about ARs is you can't cut any coils because of the way the springs are made, but you can sure buy springs cheap,
So Wolf makes spring kits for pretty much anything and everything.
Vicaros, yes sir.
Yeah.
And Black Oak. And CW, I took that Montado that you shot and put a old Vaquero spring kit in it. I compared it to I was like, let me just look at this. I took the springs out. I looked. The old spring, or the factory spring, was a lot shorter than the Wolf spring. So I just cut a few coils off of it, and I was like, we'll see what happens, and I fiddled with it. I finally got it really smooth, really nice. That and a good application of lithium grease. And I finally got it really nice. So it's almost as smooth as my old ones, but I'd love to show how smooth those are, but I'm not gonna whip that out on YouTube. So very nice, very nice. It just took a little bit of work, and I already had the old spring kit, Wolf spring kit in the pack. It was a 17-pound hammer spring, and some of those loads, if you remember, I told you there were reloads from when I first started reloading years ago, and some of them weren't going off, and I realized some of the primers were crushed, probably from me, overdoing it, and I had that happen with some of those same loads, so I just put some factory loads in it, pow, 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 shot all 6. Okay, it's fine. It'll work.
Yeah, that's I've done it myself and gone too far on triggers trying to change or correct angles.
Oh yeah.
And if you find that, because you can look at it, a lot of times you can assemble parts, like on a 1911, you can drop all the parts on the outside of the frame with the pins, and you can see how they integrate and where they touch and the angles they are at and how they work without it being inside the frame where you can't see anything. And you can see if you got angles that are off. And if you do, you're better off buying a new part, because you're going to be able to cut it right.
Yeah.
But it's going to change on you because it's not going to be completely hardened across all its surface. And it's going to be an ever-changing trigger. And you'll get to the point where it's going to do what you don't want it to do, unsafe.
Yeah, it'll go gangster on you. If any of y'all ever want to change the front sight on a 1911, let me know. I got the Brownells staking tool. I'd want it back, but for y'all, I'd mail it to you and mail it back. It wouldn't cost that much, so you wouldn't have to buy one. And then I got a homemade one. This is the first one I did. This is a 1-inch spade bit. I cut it out, and that works great for staking a. As a matter of fact, that's so sharp. It works fantastic for making that first little spread, and then you go back with a proper staking tool and spread it out. 1911s are weird. If you don't get that stake right, you'll be shooting and your front side will fly off.
It happens. I've seen me do it.
Yeah, I put a Rifle Basics in that 7717 WSM that I had down there shooting with you.
Yeah.
And the same exact thing. I got a beautiful trigger. I don't know what it was. It was under half an ounce or under about 8-9 ounces.
It's a bench rest trigger.
It was
pretty much.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But every once in a while, you work the bolt hard, it would follow.
Yep.
When you bounce it on the ground, it would go off. So it's just not safe. I just turned it up a little over a pound, pound and a half, which is wicked light anyway.
Right.
And it's beautiful. It never goes off, never a problem. And it's as clean as can be. And heck, a pound and a half. I mean, it's a hunting gun, but it's a specialized hunting gun.
Sure.
So I'm not afraid of that. But
I'm
it makes
not
a difference,
either.
you know. You wouldn't want it
Jamie.
on some guns, some applications, but it's okay in other ones.
Jamie, I wish I could demonstrate and just hold up here and just show a trigger. And
we can't though.
I know we can't. I got a trigger pull gauge right here, and show the differences and different things. But
you can do a video. You got a YouTube channel.
I know. I just suck at it, and all I got is a cell phone. So
That's all I use.
That's all I ever.
I know, but you guys are addicted to it. You know, it's one thing I just haven't got into yet. You know,
I got a couple of videos on the Ruger Americans, and there's a company out there. I want to say it's something like Uncle Bob or Uncle Bill's, or it's a couple of triggers or a little stud in the trigger. Drop in, easy to do. You get nice
Bob,
triggers. They're not expensive.
Bob. Oh my God, I've ordered from them before.
Something like that.
It's something Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. I put them in every one of mine, and I want to say they're under $50, and I want to say they're even under $30, but they're beautiful. I've got some really nice. They're beautiful, clean, beautiful triggers, and it's a factory trigger, changing knee spring and a pin, I think.
Yeah. Tikka triggers are the easiest triggers on earth. Probably the nicest hunting rifle you could buy for the money. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. Some of them are a little light for the calibers, so I would not want to get a TX3 light in a 300 Win Mag unless I had a really, 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 really nice muzzle brake installed. You know, because it will. You could take that rifle and put it on your finger and spin it. And I don't want that in a Magnum, you know. But the trigger, you remove in one bolt, and you can lighten the trigger with one bolt. And if you want to change the spring, you just take that bolt out, and there's a spring and a detent ball. And you can get there's a guy out of Canada. It's called a Yo Dave's trigger spring, but I'm sure you could order a spring kit from Brownells and find the right spring. It's a weaker spring. You put it in, boom, you get a nice 2-pound crisp trigger. Wonderful, wonderful gun. It's a safe trigger too. It cocks on it cocks on close, but it engages the sear, not the trigger. It didn't stop the trigger; it engages the sear. So,
on a different note, when people shoot my 308, if it's their first time, as soon as I start to get the words out of my mouth, they get propped up and ready to go. Be careful, that thing's got a hair. Boom. Trigger.
Yeah. I made Jamie dry fire my 6BR like twice, and I was like,
Jamie wasn't surprised on Wednesday because he'd already shot it. He knew.
I was like, feel that trigger, feel that trigger, feel that trigger. Trust me, because it's a half ounce. I mean, you stick your finger in there and think shoot, and it shoots. Ain't that right, Jamie?
That's nice trigger.
Yeah, it ain't a hunting trigger.
Sometimes too nice though.
Yeah, I tried it hunting once when my finger was cold, and I sent a warning shot over a deer's bow, pow, you know, and the deer ran off, and he was so rutted up, he just come right back, and I'm over in the box stand going, warming my finger up, and I'm like, all right, you're toast. And I killed him, you know, but I don't recommend that for everybody. It was just, I was trying out a 103 LDX. It performed wonderfully. There's a lot of people that have problems with those bullets, and I really don't understand why.
They're just a little fragile, but they're fine. They're fragile. Stay away from heavy bones.
There's a lot of people that have problems with burger bullets. The VLD hunting, which they'll trash burger and they'll go, well, that's their old match bullet. Well, it is. It's got a J4 jacket. It designed to go in, about the width of the screen there, and go kaboom. And if you hit deer in the right place, it'll drop it where it's at. If you hit deer in the wrong place, it'll just pencil. So it's not a novice bullet. They're super accurate. But I proved my point to a buddy of mine, like so many people have. I constantly refer back to the 300 Blackout forum because there was so much knowledge there, so many guys trying cool things. CW cutting bullets in half, me shooting bullets in wet pack and ballistic steel, and you shoot that burger bullet, it'll penetrate about 6 inches of wet pack and then absolute grenade. And there's a wound channel that you can stick someone's head in. I mean, it's enormous, but no penetration whatsoever. And that simulates meat, not bone, okay? And not guts either. I've had guys shoot burgers and pencil through them. I've had guys hit a shoulder and the deer get away because it just boom, broke the shoulder and didn't do any killing damage. The deer ultimately died. So it's an expert bullet. The ELDX, I shot it through the same wet pack and ballistic steel, and it busted 2 2-liter bottles going out. And I recovered the jacket, that part of the jacket, that was it. And okay, this is my bullet. Yeah, this is what I want. Shot a 175-pound buck at 100 yards at a severe angle because I'm, for those that hadn't been up here, I'm pretty hilly terrain. Wouldn't you call that, Jamie? It hilly to mountainous, and I was shooting at a pretty severe angle and hit him right where the neck joins the shoulder, which is generally a DRT shot. But the angle was such it came out through his armpit. And that was a little 103 grain ELDX out of a 6BR going.
I like Hornady bullets.
Well, Larry, they used to own the shop, and he's an old guy. He said, I like Hornady bullets because they're killing bullets. And that's what he just said. They're killing bullets. Okay. All righty. Well, there's plenty of other killing bullets out there, but that's a pretty good testimonial. They're killing bullets.
I'll tell you one I have trouble with, and y'all make fun of me because these are really good bullets, but I've never been able to get them to shoot to my standards. And that's Nosler partitions.
My God. Yeah.
I've never had them stellar accuracy. They're accurate enough, and their performance is, really good. But they're not crazy accurate.
When I dropped down, I was trying to shoot a 100 grain, 95 grain, 243 bullet, and I was shooting a little Savage pencil barrel, and it just wouldn't shoot them. So I dropped my son looked at me and said, Dad, why don't you try them 88 grain flat base burgers? And I was like, okay. I had some of them loaded up. Well, it shot them into a little wad. And so I went with an 85 grain partition. The groups opened up to 3/4 of an inch, and I was like, hey, that's
Can't really
plenty.
complain about it, but when you can shoot, an 1/8 of an inch, 3/4
Right.
of an inch is a lot.
Yeah, but the killing power of that nozzle partition kind of erased all that. The first deer I shot with it, I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm shooting it with this little bitty bullet. And I pulled the trigger and that doe went, what? Just hit the ground. And I was like, oh my Lord.
There's a lot to that sectional density theory thing. That's
And if you notice, our partition's it's not fully encased. It's got a lead bottom. And I think it's old school technology. Mr. Nosler lost a moose and said, damn it, I'm going home and I'm going to make a bullet that'll put down a moose. And he invented the partition. And it's a great bullet, often imitated, Swift A-frame. You could name a dozen examples of how that bullet's been imitated, but that base stays solid, but that open lead bottom that's not copper coated, it'll always obturate, but it ain't the most accurate. It ain't no bench rest bullet. Yeah, you're right.
I can't get them to. I can't get them to shoot more than 2 inches, less than 2 inches.
That's the story, Vanessa. When Nosler designed and built that bullet, he had gone on an elk hunt. I think it was a moose hunt. I think it was Alaska.
Yeah.
And he either lost or poked holes in a couple of them and didn't get them. And he said, "This is ridiculous." And he designed a bullet, and that's what he came up with, the partition.
That AccuBond deer slayer.
Well, the thing about AccuBond, Kyle, is it's so hard. It's like a Swift Sirocco that on our Georgia whitetails or North Carolina whitetails, they can actually just pencil through them, just whoop. And if you're a good shot and you're putting the bullet in the right place, you wouldn't ever know the difference, And then all of a sudden you've got a marginal shot. You shoot the deer and it runs 500 yards, and you're like, what the heck? It went all the way through it. I got 2 holes, but why didn't the bullet mushroom? What? The wound channel's nothing. And it's because the bullet's so densely constructed. An AccuBond's more for like an elk-sized game. It's for, or arguably Ohio whitetails, which are almost the size of elk.
They got rhinoceros skin.
Yeah, exactly. And but they're incredibly accurate bullets. Nosler ballistic tips, on the other hand, I've got a 7 mag in here, Savage Tactical, a very accurate gun. I've never loaded for it. Didn't have to. It shoots the Winchester ballistic silver tip black bullet 140s. Great. I shot one deer in the woods with it at around 60 yards, watched her offside leg hit her in the head, and she flipped backwards all the way back to my tree stand, and I watched her die. And I had both front shoulders were gone. I said, I'll never shoot a deer with a 7 mag again unless it's at least 200 yards away. I mean, it's just not there's no need for that. It's overkill.
It's punishing and degrading.
Yeah, I started going to smaller and smaller and smaller calibers. I was thrilled to death when Sierra came out with that is it 65 grain CW, Game King,
Yeah.
thicker
22.
jacket. Yeah. So that's allowed more kids to enter the hunting arena with an AR platform, which is soft kicking, no recoil, and kill deer, because it's a deer killing fool if you hit it in the right place. And ain't that the catch, you know?
That bullet shoots really good too.
There's
Yeah.
Lyle Hobson. Welcome in, buddy. We're
Well-
a minute late for our verse of the week. Are y'all ready?
Go for it, Jamie.
Let's answer Vanessa's question though. Rank killing bullets by manufacturer from best to worst. It ain't about the manufacturer, it's about the design of the bullet. So just make sure you get a hunting bullet and not a target bullet. And any of your prime manufacturers will make a good hunting bullet. Hornady, Barnes, Nosler, James Pugh and Walks Fletcher love those Noslers, and they're good. I like the Hornady interlocks, and I like
SSTs.
Sierra Pro Hunters.
Yep.
And what I like about the Pro Hunters is that flat base.
Yep.
I like that. I like the back end of that bullet slamming through and getting that mushroom. But
When you see plastic tips, think hollow point. They're designed to expand, and if you're using them up close, you may find them not so great. They could come apart on shoulders and big bones and things up close. They're designed to shoot long ranges and still expand when they get out there. So stay away from big bones on any of those plastic tip bullets up close. They're not going to do as well for you, where a lead tip is probably going to be a little better. But just look at the design of the bullet. Look at the velocity range it's designed for. Most manufacturers are going to show it. And know that if you're shooting bones, if you're shooting on big bones on the shoulders and things, you're going to want a tougher bullet. If you're shooting lungs, center of the lungs where it's just rib bones, you can go with a more fragile bullet. And a heavier constructed bullet on ribs may pencil. May not expand much. So you can, guys will complain about the bullet because it's never their fault. But more often than not, these complaints that you hear about bullets are the shooter's choice of distance, caliber, velocity, game than it is the bullet itself.
A good example is being a gun shop owner. I get a lot of guys that have come in and said, well, I'm not shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor for deer anymore because I've lost so many deer. Well, do you reload? No. What ammo are you shooting? And 9 times out of 10 is match ammo. And they're not, the poor guys can't understand.
Well, that's what shoots best in my gun.
Yeah, exactly. CW. It shoots that, at 100 yards. So I thought I'd use it. They don't understand bullet construction. And while they could shoot a good hunting bullet and that opens up to an inch. Well, an inch and one MOA at 100 yards will kill deer all day long. Okay. And I tell that to people all day.
exactly.
Most folks aren't capable of even that.
Most of the deer we're hunting got an 8-inch. Some have a 10 or 12-inch kill area.
A pie plate.
So if you're only shooting them at 100, 150 yards, that's all the extra you need. I mean, if you shoot 6-inch groups, you're shooting 8-inch groups at 150 or 9-inch groups at 150. You're inside a pie plate. You're still going to get that deer. Yeah, it's not pretty. Yeah, it's not a great group, but it's enough to kill because of the distance you're ever going to hunt that. So it's relative.
And I'm right in the thick of it, and I have a range, and I get guys coming over. I had 2 guys come over last week. They're getting ready to go to Montana next month. They bought Christensen arms, rifles, one in 300 PRC, one in 300 Mac, and they were shooting little groups at little groups. They said, I was like, what's a little group? You got a target? And he was like, well, it was and then 300, he couldn't understand why he was all over the place. I said, are you hand loading? No. What are you shooting off of? A sandbag, a watered up sweatshirt. Okay, maybe you're simulating field conditions, but you're not really testing what that rifle will really do. And my suggestion to him was, if it's a Christian, it's got a trigger tech in it, lighten up the trigger pull, and or have someone that knows what they're doing, lighten up the trigger pull, and you need to buy about $200 worth of ammo and try different brands, and if you're not hand loading, and see what shoots best in your rifle at distance. And I got a feeling 9 times out of 10, like I said, having feedback from a range is shooter error. You know, I had a guy come in who's a law enforcement officer bragging about his Weatherby. He said, look at this group. And he held up a pipe weight. And
I'm trying.
Sorry, Walter. I'll shut up.
All right. I wanted to answer her question, but we do have to stay on schedule, and I don't want to be mean or anything. Let's do. We're talking about Isaiah chapter 6 from the great throne room scene, and we covered verses 1 through 5 last week. And I'm going to trust that all y'all have those verses memorized by now.
Oh, yeah.
Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 6. No, I've got a review. I do. Let me read quickly 1 through 5. Isaiah 6. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above it stood seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. Verse 3, and one cried to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Verse 4, and the posts of the door were shaken by the voice of him who cried out, and the house was filled with smoke. Verse 5, so I said, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. And here's where we'll start today in verse 6. Then one of the seraphim flew to me, having in his hand a live coal, which he had taken with the tongs from the altar. And he touched my mouth with it, and said, Behold, this has touched your lips. Your iniquity is taken away, and your sin is purged. What a powerful and painful thought. John MacArthur says that the hot coal taken from the altar of incense in heaven is emblematic of God's purifying work. Repentance is painful. And there in verse 7, he says, taken away, purged, spiritual cleansing or special service to the Lord, not salvation, is in view here. Where Isaiah's salvation is established, and we're talking about being purified and able to serve the Lord. So David Guzik writes that these angelic beings surrounding the throne of God ministered to Isaiah. One flew to Isaiah with a live coal, which means that the coal was still hot and burning. It was so hot that even an angel had to use the tongs from the altar. And the altar here is a version of heaven's version of the altar of incense that was set before the Holy of Holies in the tabernacle of God. in Exodus chapter 30. And we know that the earthly tabernacle God instructed Moses to build was made after the pattern of a heavenly reality in Exodus 25:9. So the throne is for God. That is where he rules and reigns. The altar is for us. That is where we find cleansing and purging from sin. And we should never confuse the two. The coal from the altar cleanses Isaiah. He touched my mouth with it and said, behold, this has touched your lips. Your iniquity is taken away and your sin is purged. So this must have really hurt. A burning hot coal applied to the lips is one of the more sensitive areas of the body, yet nothing is written that Isaiah reacted in pain. Either there was no pain because of a special blessing by God, or the pain did not matter because of the majesty of the surroundings and the goodness of the cleansing. So Isaiah knew he did not serve the Lord with these seraphim and the burning ones. So God said, I will light a fire in you also. That is why burning coal was used to purify Isaiah. Jehovah, who is a consuming fire, can only fitly be served by those who are on fire, whether they are angels or men. That's a quote from Charles Spurgeon. So when Isaiah cried out, woe is me, for I am undone, in verse 5 there, we might think that the burning coal to the lips would be more painful than a vision of the holy God, but for Isaiah it was more disturbing to see the holiness of God and to see his own lack of holiness than it was to have burning coals applied to his lips. Your iniquity is taken away and your sin is purged. Isaiah's sin had to be burned away. The fire of judgment was applied to his place of sin. This obviously was a spiritual transaction. If one has a sinful mouth, it will do nothing to place a burning hot coal on their lips. That will not take away or purge their sin. Yet the same principle works on our behalf in regards with Jesus' work on Calvary. Our sin was placed on him, and he was burned with the fire of God's judgment. Yet because he was holy and righteous himself, the fire of God's judgment did not harm him. It only burned away the sin, our sin. So once Isaiah had met with the Lord, been convicted of his sin, and cleansed from his guilt, then he was ready to serve God. Charles Spurgeon again there says, the effect of that hot coal will be to fire the lips with heavenly flame. Oh, says one man, a flaming coal will burn the lips so that the man cannot speak at all. That is just how God works with us. It is by consuming the fleshly power that he inspires the heavenly might. Oh, let the lips be burnt. Let the fleshly power of eloquence be destroyed. But oh, for that live coal to make the tongue eloquent with heaven's flame, the true divine power which urged the apostles forward and made them conquerors of the whole world. And that's Charles Spurgeon. And that's our verse for the week. Questions or comments?
Hard to imagine what Isaiah what was going through his mind at the time. He sees, the implication was there was just one angel, but I think there were a couple of them that were there. But anyway, the one of them, here he comes with, a set of fire tongs in his hand with a hot charcoal at the end of it coming right at his mouth. It's like, my goodness, that would have been terrifying to most folks. It would be to me.
Yeah. I think the text there in verse 6 says, then one of the seraphim flew to me. So seraphim would be plural.
Yeah. He must. Yeah, it must have been just the one, I guess, because there were a couple that were there at the time.
There was
But
at least two, but the text really doesn't tell us the number of them.
right,
Well, we do know about the angelic beings that are around God all the time in the throne room. You know, you got the cherubim and the seraphim. You know, it talks about the ones with the wings, and one wing covers this, one wing covers that, and there's multitudes of them. They cry, "Holy, holy, holy, the Lord God, Lord God Almighty." So there's more than one angel in the throne room, more than one different caliber of angel in the throne room.
right.
So, Jamie, read verse 6 again.
Verse 6 says, "Then one of the seraphim flew to me, having in his hand a live coal." Which he,
That's good. See, Spurgeon puts a whole lot of emphasis on the tongs, but if you look at it, it says that he took the coal from the fire with the tongs, but he flew to Isaiah with it in his hand.
having in his hand a live coal which he had taken with the tongs from
Oh,
the altar.
I never noticed that or read it that way. I mean, that almost sounds like he's got it in the tongs, and he puts it in his hand, and you know,
And the Hebrew, it kind of reads that way too. And so, I mean, I don't know if there's any emphasis or if there's any real. I don't want to say there's no reason for anything. You know, it's in there. It's in there for a reason. But
right.
I wonder if the whole thing is the angel could not reach into the fire.
Well,
Wasn't allowed to, you mean, or
Guzik
not
says,
physically able or something? Yeah.
No, I don't know what it means, but it's more like he went with it in his hand instead of with it in the tongs. Or it could be saying that he had the tongs in his hand. I don't know.
I think that's the meaning. That's the way I would take it. Guzik there says that it was so hot that even an angel had to use the tongs from the altar. So the coal was still hot and burning. And what we're talking about is the altar of incense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my whole thing is that I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on the tongs at all or anything. It's just that it was a coal and he put it to his lips. And I think we get off in the flesh a little bit when we try to put too much emphasis on whether it was the tong. I've heard a lot of theologians argue about that, whether it was he flew to him with tongs or he flew in with a coal in his hand. So I don't know.
Right. The bottom line doesn't make any difference.
Right. The thing is the coal in the lips. That's the whole thing. He purged it. And so I don't want to go extracurricular on it. But, he basically the thing was it took a purging to remove the sin from Isaiah. And that purging took place in Isaiah's flesh. So it's kind of like, before Christ died on the cross, that was the only way to be purged of sin.
Yeah. Makes you kind of stand up and realize what a marvelous thing it was that Jesus did for us.
Absolutely.
When you hearken back to this kind of stuff, that was your, a main way of salvation before the cross, and look what he did for us. Amongst everything else that he did.
Being a good father, he spared us from the fire.
Yeah.
If we believe in Christ. So I'm putting my money on Jesus. I don't want no coal on my lips.
Not even a cold one, man.
I can tell you, I mean, as they say, guilty of whether it's in deed or in thought, you can commit sin. So if that's the case, I'm a man of an impure head. I don't want nobody opening up my skull and dropping a hot coal in there.
Might do me some good, but dang.
What's wrong?
Sorry, we got an air show coming up, and this stinking F-35 jock has been coming in under the 500-foot
Oh, cool.
ceiling and shaking the windows, and
things
are loud.
You know you.
Oh,
love
come on, go out and love it.
God, they're loud.
uh,
Most expensive way we've got for turning kerosene into noise.
yep, yep. But it's sexy. It's sexy.
Yeah, that's what sounds.
Dang, he's low. It's dark too.
Block
Rascal.
Yeah,
airport. I love it.
we're going to have to start.
Going through the
There
room.
you go, Lyle. We need to make sure that happens, buddy. We got to start going through the room. We got about less than 10 minutes till Kentucky Rimfire starts. No, I didn't pick up any 35 Remington ammo, Ozark. I got a good load, brother, buddy, for sure. Bama Dad, why don't you go first? What you got coming up this coming week?
I got to mount a scope again and head back up to Talladega to the CMP and see if I can't get that checked off. I'm aggravated. I need to quit. They don't like me up there too much right now. I plowed their 100-yard range. I thought we were supposed to take tractors, not rifles. I was just trying to, plow it up for them.
Yeah.
I've got to get that thing done. I don't know. I have still to this day, I don't know what's wrong, what went wrong with it. But we're going to shoot. We're going to try it again. I'll tell you what, I have to say this. I enjoyed the company, and that was my first trip up there. That is a beautiful range. It's a really nice facility.
Really nice. All right, so we lost the hillbilly to go over to Chad's. So,
Kyle,
what you got coming up, bud?
Kyle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
What
hey.
you got coming up, bud?
Oh, just living the dream, man. I'm sitting here dealing with dogs and got a little sidetracked.
Well, we're signing off.
Oh, I hear you.
Tell everybody bye.
Appreciate everybody in the side chat. Thank you for coming by. And hopefully we'll see you again next weekend.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Mr.
having me.
Walter.
Well, first of all, thanks as always for the invitation to be here and participate. I didn't have a whole lot to say tonight. I opened my mouth at the beginning about that Glock trigger, and then I have anything to say after that. But anyway, a great discussion tonight. We kind of went number of different directions, but that was really good. A lot of good conversation. A lot of expertise. Up here on this panel with you guys with the long guns and so forth. It's how I am. I don't know diddly poop about them. If it's longer than this, I don't get it for the most part. But anyway, so yeah, we got a Moldy Monday coming up, and I've got several in the can, but I think I'm going to do a Moldy Monday with one of the Captain Balls this coming Monday, and we'll have a new wad cutter next week for Wad Cutter Wednesday, and maybe another video coming out too. We'll have to see how it goes. It takes me quite a while to put those 25-30-minute shows together, so it takes a while. But anyway, thanks for the invitation again. Good to see everybody over in the side chat. We really appreciate you guys being here, and that's what's happening over air show this weekend, so I'll wander over there. I can see most of it right at my garage, but anyhow, so we'll take a look at that, see if I can get some video to pipe into the next video of mine. All right, that's it. Rebel, what you got coming up?
Let's see. Still working on the factory Remington 308. Otherwise, living the dream at the gun shop. I've got some really nice hunting rifles and bench rest rifles. I've sold several of them. Separated the scopes off some of them. They're on consignment. I've tried my best to get this very nice lady and her husband what they're worth. It's really hard to sell a custom rifle because you're never going to get the money out of it that you put in it. But if any of y'all have an interest, there's some weird calibers like 22 243. CW and Jamie have both looked at these things. 6 284, 22 250 Ackley improved. You know, send me a message and I'll send you some pics. But I'm just before putting them on, some of them on Accurate Shooter and moving them down the road. So you kind of get in on it before I put them out there for the interwebs. So I'll let y'all know how the trigger job on the 700 goes, and I refer to Walter for everything smaller than that. I'll take care of this. But CW, what you got, buddy?
Thanks everybody for being here tonight. Little off the cuff, that worked out pretty good. I think we did a lot of talking. Some of us more than others, but it was pretty good. A lot of information. I want to thank everybody for the views on my pressure video last week. It went pretty good. A lot of feedback, private messaging and stuff. Really good comments in the comments for that video. If you haven't seen it, it's on my channel from last week. It's about some overpressure that I found and how to look at. And what I always tell everybody is, primers are not the tell-all that you think they are. And this was a prime example of just that. So it was a good one if you're reloaded. Mm-hmm. And this week I've got another 400 Legend subsonic video coming out, and I talk some more about the 454 that I haven't got as of yet. I'm still waiting for it. So a couple of videos and maybe something else will come up. We'll see. But that's it again. Thanks everybody on the panel. Thanks everybody in the side chat. Great to see everybody, and good to see a couple of new faces.
Yeah.
Hope you guys can join us again. We enjoy it, and we really rely on the side chat a lot for topics and for points of information, points of speaking. So if you got a question or a comment, certainly bring it to us, and as long as we can see it, we'll address it. David.
I'm going to be trying to put a video together this week. I don't have a lot of footage from our trip, but I got some pictures, and I mean, let's face it. We all go to the range and we shoot. We don't really need to see footage of a guy sitting there shooting when we can have a picture of the results and be done.
That gets rid of half of my videos.
Me too. Come on, man. I'm not going to do any more casting then.
No, man. We all love that stuff. Anyway, I'll try to get that done over the weekend and have it up next week. And remember, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. We love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And if the good Lord's willing, we hope he blesses you all real good. And if he's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.
God bless everybody.